I showed up for a dinner I had planned. I'd booked a private room at the Landmark Beastro, one of those trendy places with brick walls, dim lights, and fancy menus. I paid $800 to reserve the room weeks ago and another $1,200 for a meal served family style. 18 people were supposed to come. I even made special requests: vegan dishes for Ava, no red wine for Aunt Celeste, gluten-free bread for Uncle Perry. I thought of everything. I always do. But when I pulled into the parking lot, something felt wrong. No familiar cars, no sound, no Ava honking, no sign of Dad's crookedly parked truck, just quiet. I checked my phone again. Friday, 7 p.m., Landmark Beastro. Can't wait to see everyone. That was from Mom, sent 2 weeks ago. She had confirmed again just 3 days ago. It was 7:02 p.m. I was right on time, and I felt like an idiot. Inside, the hostess barely looked at me. "Whitmore party?" I asked, trying not to sound nervous. She looked at her list. "Oh, yeah, that was last night, Thursday, big group, had place cards and a cake, looked really nice." I froze. "No, that can't be, the dinner's tonight. I made the reservation." She gave a small shrug. "Sorry, ma'am, just going by the list, they were here, 18 people." I opened my mouth but couldn't speak. A dry, bitter laugh came out instead. I stepped outside and called my mom. "Hi, sweetie," she answered, sounding way too cheerful. "Where is everyone?" I asked. She paused, then gave that fake, light laugh she uses when she knows she messed up but won't admit it. "Oh, honey, it was yesterday. We figured you weren't coming, but don't worry, we saved you a plate, we'll drop it off." I didn't say goodbye, I didn't say anything, I just stood there, staring at the sidewalk, phone still in my hand, the restaurant lights glowing behind the glass door I didn't get to walk through. And I thought, did they actually forget, or did they want me to feel left out? It wasn't the first time they excluded me. Not even close. It was just the first time they didn't even try to hide it. That's what hurt most. No excuses, no fake emergencies, no trying to reschedule, just silence and a plate of leftovers. When I was younger, I thought being the responsible one was something to be proud of. My name is Rachel Whitmore, I'm the oldest daughter, I don't live nearby, I don't cause problems, and I don't ask for much. That's how they see me. Ava, she's the baby, the favorite, the one who just needs a little help. So, I helped. The first time was after college when Ava couldn't pay rent. Mom called, sounding worried. "She's trying so hard, RA, just this one time." I sent $600 that night. That one time lasted a year and a half. Then it was her car insurance, then a phone bill, then classes for massage school she never finished, and never paid me back for. When I finally said something, gently, they always said, "Stop being so cold, she's your sister, you're doing better than her, why are you keeping score?" But I wasn't keeping score. I was hurting. And they didn't care enough to see it. Last Christmas, I spent almost all my savings buying gifts for everyone. I didn't want anything big in return, just a card, maybe. Instead, I got a box of peppermint bark and a framed family photo. I wasn't in the photo. No one even noticed. 2 years ago, Ava texted me late at night, "Emergency, Bailey ate a sock. Vet bill is $800, please." I sent the money right away. The next morning, she posted on her story, "New nails, brunch with mimosas, and a guy's tattooed hand on her leg." The caption said, "Soft life season." I sent the post to Mom. She replied, "You always take things too personally, she's just trying to live." No one asked if I could afford it. No one asked how I was doing. When Dad missed the property tax deadline and got a warning about a lien on the house, I quietly paid it. I used money from my emergency fund. He didn't thank me. He just texted, "Handled." There's one night I'll never forget. It was after I sent Ava $1,200 to help with a bounce check and a shut-off notice. I was visiting home. Late at night, I went downstairs for some water. I heard voices in the living room. Ava said, "She's obsessed with playing the martyr, it's honestly sad." Mom added, "I know, she acts like she's saving us just because she pays for things." Dad laughed and said, "Let her, she's not married, what else is she gonna do with her money?" Then Ava again, sounding proud, "She thinks we'd fall apart without her, please, if she disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't even notice." I stood there in the hallway, holding a glass of water, my heart pounding. They didn't know I was there, or maybe they did, and didn't care. The next morning, Mom made blueberry pancakes like everything was normal. I didn't say anything, I smiled, ate, and drove back to Minneapolis before lunch. I didn't cut them off. I should have. But 3 days later, Ava texted, "RA, I'm short on rent, promise this is the last time." And I sent it. Because that's what I did. That's who I was. Until the night at the Landmark Beastro. Standing in a parking lot. No one inside. 18 people eating food I paid for. That's when it hit me, it wasn't just that they didn't care. It was that they decided I was easier to use when I wasn't around. I didn't drive home that night. I got in my car, turned off the engine, and sat there. The parking lot was nearly empty. A few valets wandered around, bored. Inside, other parties laughed and ate. I sat behind the glass, unseen. The silence filled my car like fog. I read the message again. Friday, 7 p.m., Landmark Beastro. Mom had sent it. I even replied, confirmed, got the deposit down. That was 3 days before the dinner. 14 messages in total, all from me. Not one reply. Not one correction. They knew. They all knew. And they still went. Just without me. My hands started shaking. Not from cold. Not from anger. From something worse. The kind of shaking that comes when you realize you've been crying out in your head for years, and no one ever listened. Because they didn't need to. I pictured Ava laughing with cake in her mouth. Mom setting place cards. Dad giving a toast I'd never hear. That's when I understood, I was never really wanted. They liked me when I was useful. They kept me around when I was paying. But they never truly cared about me. That truth hit hard. But it didn't destroy me. It gave me strength. For years, I told myself being needed was enough. That love looked like always being asked for help. That family meant constantly giving. But love isn't about how much someone takes from you. It's about whether they show up when they don't need anything. No one ever showed up for me. I don't know how long I sat there, maybe an hour or more. At some point, something inside me broke. Not loudly, not all at once. Just slowly, quiet, and deep. I didn't cry. I didn't call anyone. I didn't yell. I pulled out a receipt from the glove box and started doing the math. Appetizers, Ava's vegan entree upgrade. Sparkling cider for Aunt Celeste. 22% tip. Total, $2,240.84. I stared at that number until it burned into my brain. Tomorrow, they'd find out what it feels like when the person they use finally stops playing her part. And I knew exactly where to start. The next evening, I sent a message to the family group chat. It was short, just 12 words. I'll be at Mom's at 7 p.m. I have something for everyone. No one asked what it was. Of course they didn't. They never asked anything when it came to me. At 6:58, I pulled into the driveway. The porch light was on. Inside, I saw them through the window, Ava on her phone, Dad in his chair, Mom fixing the pillows like we had guests. When I walked in, they all looked at me. But no one apologized. No one seemed sorry. Mom just said, "Hi, honey, we weren't sure if you were still upset." I didn't answer. I just sat down and put a thick white envelope on the table. Ava squinted. "What's that?" "It's a bill," I said, flat, "for the dinner, the one you all had without me." Dad laughed and leaned forward. "You're kidding." "I'm not." Mom's smile got tight. "Are you seriously asking us to pay you back?" "No," I said, leaning in. "I'm giving you a choice, from now on. If you want anything from me, it comes with a price." The room went silent. Even Ava put her phone down. Dad's voice got firm. "You need to lose the attitude. We're family." "Are we?" I said. "The same family that left me out of a reunion I paid for? The same people who've used me emotionally and financially for years?" Ava rolled her eyes. "No one forced you to pay, Rachel. That's on you." That was it. Something inside me broke completely. I stood up. "Okay, let's talk about all the things I wasn't forced to do." I took out a second folder. Inside was a printed list, everything clearly labeled and dated. I pointed at Ava. "No one made me pay your rent for 18 months, or cover your bounce checks, or send in your college deposit." I turned to Mom. "No one made me pay your back taxes, or fund your birthday cruise when you said Dad forgot." Then to Dad. "No one made me buy groceries when Mom said her knee hurt too much." "Watch it," Dad warned. "Oh, I'm just getting started," I said. I opened the folder and laid it out on the coffee table. It had everything: receipts, transfers, screenshots, proof of every dollar I ever gave. "What's all this?" Dad asked, annoyed. "Records," I said, "because last week, I got a fraud alert. Someone opened a credit card in my name." Ava froze. "I called the company. They're looking into it as identity theft." "The shipping address?" "This house." I looked right at Ava. "And the charges?" "An iPhone, a spa day." "Funny, you posted about both. Said a friend bought them." Mom opened her mouth, but no words came out. Ava stood up fast. "You're seriously doing all this over that?" "No," I said. I'm doing this because I finally can. No one said a word. No one moved. Ava crossed her arms, but she wasn't smiling anymore. I thought this was over, she said too loudly. It's not even that serious. You always help. Why does it matter if the card had your name on it? There it was, the truth. Out in the open, no shame. Mom jumped in. Her voice was shaking. She panicked. Rachel, it was a mistake. You know she's under so much pressure. Stop, I said. Dad stood up. You really want your sister to end up in jail? No, I said, but I want her to know she can't keep hiding behind the word family. I pulled out one more paper, the police report, filled out, signed, filed. I submitted this yesterday, I said, placing it on the table. I already got a call from a detective this afternoon. Ava's face went pale. You're really going through with this? Mom looked shocked. You're tearing this family apart. No, I said, I'm just done letting it tear me apart. There was no shouting. No slamming doors. Just the quiet breaking of a story they'd controlled for years. For the first time, I saw fear in their eyes. Not fear of jail, maybe, but fear of being exposed. They knew I was serious now. They knew I could follow through. Ava laughed suddenly, cold and sharp. So what, you want money, a check? Fine, I'll pay you back. No, you won't, I said quietly. This isn't just about money, it's about all the times you used me and called it love, all the times you left me empty and said I should be grateful. Silence. Then Dad stepped forward, voice low. You think this makes you a hero? No, I said, standing tall. It makes me free. I turned to leave, folder in hand. Behind me, Ava mumbled something. Mom was crying. Dad stayed still. Then a voice came from the corner of the room. It wasn't any of them. It was Marcus, my cousin, the quiet one, the one who never spoke up, never took sides. I'd like to pay my part, he said softly. Everyone turned to look at him. He cleared his throat. For the dinner, it's only fair, and I knew about the date change. I was there when they joked about not telling you. He looked down. I didn't speak up. I'm sorry. For the first time that night, I smiled. Thank you, I said. Then I walked out. Not because I'd won, but because I finally stopped playing a game I never agreed to. The next morning at 8:17 a.m., my phone rang. The number was private. I picked up. Hi, is this Rachel Whitmore? A man asked. Yes. This is Officer Grant from the St. Paul Police Department. We're following up on your report about identity theft and a credit card opened in your name. The billing address is listed as your parents' house. I closed my eyes. Yes, that's right. We'll be visiting the house today to speak with the people there. You don't need to be there, just wanted to let you know. Do you need anything from me? No, you've done your job, thank you. He hung up. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at nothing. For once, I wasn't afraid of the doorbell ringing. I didn't worry about what they would say, because it wasn't my problem anymore. Later that day, Mom left me a voicemail. She never leaves voicemails. Rachel, she began. Her voice was tight, like she was trying not to cry. The police came, this morning. I was still in my robe, and your dad hadn't even had coffee. 2 officers. They asked to talk to all of us. All of us, Rachel. She took a sharp breath. They said someone opened a credit card in your name, that the charges matched our address. Her voice cracked. They wanted to look at Ava's phone. That's when it started to fall apart. Ava tried to leave, said she had to go to work. They told her to sit down. She got nervous. Then she admitted it. It wasn't fraud, she said. Rachel always helps. I thought she wouldn't care, but they checked her texts. One said, she's too uptight to notice. That's not just stealing, that's proof she meant to do it. That night, Detective Hanley called. He was now handling the case. We have enough to press charges, he said. Do you want to go ahead? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I looked through the messages now flooding my phone. From Mom, we can fix this, just talk to us. From Dad, you're going to ruin your sister's life over a card? From Ava, you selfish bitch, I'll lose everything. You really want that? Funny. None of them cared when I was the one losing everything. I waited a whole day, then I called the detective back. For now, I said, hold off on charges, but I want this on record. If she ever touches anything in my name again, I want her charged immediately. He agreed. And just like that, things shifted. Not because they said sorry. Not because they changed. But because, for the first time, I stopped carrying their weight. 3 days later, Mom called again. Her voice was soft. Too soft, like silk over a blade. If you really want to make things right, she said, come to the house, let's talk face to face. I shouldn't have gone. But I did. They were all there. Ava was curled up on the couch like a hurt animal. Mom paced the room. Dad stood silently, arms crossed. We just want to heal, Mom said, sitting across from me. We know you're hurt, but this is breaking the family. No, I said. Ava did that. You did that, when you all decided it was easier to use me than to include me. Ava wouldn't even look at me. I didn't think you'd actually call the police, she said, her voice shaky. Who does that? Someone who's had enough, I said. Mom reached for my hand. We'll pay you back. You don't need the police. We can handle this privately. I pulled my hand away. Funny, I said. You didn't offer that before they showed up. Her face changed, like she still thought I'd give in. Then Dad spoke. You're not perfect either, Rachel. You think this makes you a hero? I looked right at him. No, it makes me free. I stood up. This time, no one tried to stop me. No one begged me to stay. I walked out. And when the door closed behind me, it didn't feel like leaving. It felt like I was finally free. 2 weeks later, I moved. New town. New state. New apartment under my name. It was a small place in a quiet Minnesota neighborhood. No one knew my last name. No one knew Ava. The only knock on the door came from the mailman. And peace? It wasn't something I had to earn. It was just there. That first weekend, I built furniture, drank coffee in silence, and watched the sunrise through clean windows. No demands. No guilt. Just peace. Then, 3 weeks later, a letter arrived. No return address. Neat handwriting. Inside was a short note and a check. I don't expect you to forgive me. But thank you for doing what I never had the courage to. Marcus. The check was for half the cost of the dinner. I didn't cash it. I didn't need to. He didn't know me. But he saw what happened. That was enough. As for the rest of them? I never heard from them again. Not at Christmas. Not when Dad had surgery. Not even when Ava lost her job. I found out from a cousin's Facebook post. And that silence? It used to hurt. Now it feels like air. A few weeks ago at the grocery store, someone from back home saw me. Hey, aren't you Ava's sister? I smiled. No, I said. Just like that. Because if you've ever chosen peace over apology, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Just breathe.